my name is Daphne Blevins, and I'm going to be discussing the feeding behaviors of the prairie coneflower mirid. This is the footage that I took of one in my yard feeding on a prairie coneflower. Prairie coneflower mirids have a straw-like mouthpart called a rostrum, and they possess saliva that contains digestive enzymes, which they use to break down the plant juices they consume and make it easier to digest. These mirids employ one of two methods when feeding. These are the lacerate and flush and salivary sheath methods. Lacerate and flush is performed when the mirid injects its saliva into the plant and then uses its straw-like mouthparts to suck it back up. The salivary sheath method occurs when the mirid uses a second kind of saliva that solidifies and forms a sheath around the mouthparts, providing more stability when feeding. This information is from Bacchus 1988, and I couldn't find any research supporting which of these two methods the prairie coneflower mirid uses, so it's up for debate. Next, for the Tinbergen causation level hypothesis, according to Doring 2014, prairie coneflower mirids rely on environmental factors such as the smell or colors of the prairie coneflower. This attracts them to their host plant, which then elicits a feeding response from the mirid. For my development hypothesis, prairie coneflower mirids have developed to consume their host plant during their nymph and adult stages, and this is according to Wheeler Jr. 2008. For my evolution level hypothesis, according to Wang et al. 2019, the prairie coneflower mirid's mouthparts have adapted to allow them the tools to have easier access to the coneflower juices they consume. And for my function level hypothesis, according to Jones et al. 2022, the efficient feeding strategies of these mirids have given them the benefit of increased survival and reproductive rates because they aren't spending as much energy on feeding, and being a specialist, this means that their mates can also be found on the prairie coneflower. This might be another benefit adding to their reproductive success. And relating this to cog books, prairie coneflower mirids are an example of a specialist species. Specialists have a narrow fixed food base upon which they rely. These mirids have mouthparts that allow them to specialize in feeding on prairie coneflowers, hence why this is their food source. When a species feeds on a highly abundant, predictable food source, they are likely to specialize in this food, whereas species who feed on an unpredictable food source are likely generalists and must seek other sources of food to get their needed nutrition. Prairie coneflowers are an abundant flower species in my area, hence why the prairie coneflower mirid can be observed in the area feeding on them as well. There's a little video. And lastly, here are my sources. Thank you so much.